Hello everybody, welcome back to Learning CAD Unit 3 Part B. Today we're going to be talking about sweeps and lofts, which are two really interesting and useful tools that will allow us to make shapes that we couldn't previously. Before we continue, let's just think back to the original model that we had for making 3D shapes. If you'll remember, we started out by sketching in 2D and extruding into 3D. In this case, however, we're going to alter the second step. So rather than sketching and extruding straight back, we're going to extrude in a number of different alternate ways. The first one that we'll talk about is sweep. In a sweep, rather than extruding straight back into the plane that you sketched on, you will instead extrude on the path of a line that you sketched. As you can see in the top right corner here, right, this oval is not just going in a straight line back, it's going along this kind of red S-shaped curvy path. As you can imagine, this will kind of really open up the amount of shapes that we can make. As always, instructions are here if you need it in the Google Slides. We're also today going to talk about lofts, which are interesting because they actually kind of alter the paradigm a little bit. As before, we've been doing sketch and then extrude. In this case, we're going to do sketch, sketch, and then it's going to basically draw a contiguous shape between them, as you can see in this drawing in the top right corner, right? So we start out with this rectangle, we actually hit this intermediate smaller rectangle, and then we go to a circle all in one contiguous shape. And this is a really interesting tool, and it's used a lot, especially in like consumer products or products with more, complex surfaces. Oh, whoa, that kind of leads me to my next point. What's this? A cool learning realization. So previously, right, we've talked about tools that you can pretty much imagine how to make like a bracket or, a square block or like a circular thing you make in the lathe. But there's kind of been a disconnect because we have all these things in the real world, right, like your phone or, right, like the computer mouse that have these complex 3D curves. Now, let's do some examples. I'm going to start with a blank part. And as always, I'm going to turn on my planes. Wonderful. Okay, we're going to start off with sweeps and then we'll do lofts. So for sweeps, let's just sketch on any face that you'd like. And we will make a fun little shape. We'll start with a rectangle in the center. This can be whatever you want. You don't need to do this exactly. Yeah, sure. Why not a center point arc on this little point, and we'll make like a little nub. And then use the trim entities tool to make it one shape. And again, don't worry about the shape. It could be a circle or a square or whatever you like. Okay, now that we're good with this, I'm going to exit sketch. Okay, so now we have our shape. But as you'll recall, right, sweeps need two things, right? They need two sketches, actually. They need one sketch, which is the kind of profile, right? What is the shape of if you cut the thing that we're extruding in half, what does it look like? And then the other one is, where are we going to have this go? So we just did the profile. Now we need the path, which is what that last thing is called. So to do the path, let's make a sketch on this right plane. And I'm going to hit the space button to just give myself kind of right angle. And if you remember, right, our previous sketch we did is right here on this plane that we're seeing here, the front plane. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to start my line just to make it nice in my head. I'm going to start my line right on this point. And we don't have to keep it straight lines. We can get funky with this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a spline. Start here. Let's see if that works. Okay, wonderful. So in this case, it doesn't need to be, normally we do closed sketches, so a sketch that's like a loop or has like a contained internal volume. In this case, it's just a path for the initial sketch to follow, so it doesn't need to be closed. It can just be open. Wonderful. Okay, so now we have our two sketches. You can kind of imagine how this might look. I'm actually going to space out. I'm actually going to make this a little smaller. Sometimes the geometry won't work. Again, I want to impress upon you, especially for sketching and lofts, that these tools are known to be pretty finicky, so you're just going to have to kind of use your great reasoning skills, tough it out a little bit, and I'm sure you'll get there. Okay, that's good. That looks more doable. We might have to alter some stuff if it doesn't work, but that's kind of part of the process. So let's go to the Features tab, as we usually do when we're making 3D geometry. This sweep tool is on this kind of leftmost grouping right up here, swept boss base. You can see, right, there's one option for the profile and another option for the path. So we're just going to basically select the sketches that are appropriate for each one in the box. So this is the profile sketch. So we're just going to click on there and it'll select the whole sketch for us. And then we're going to make sure we're on the path sketch and we're going to click here. Ooh, that's cool. Awesome. So it made this kind of weird, maybe like question mark looking shape or hook shape. There's some stuff you can do to mess around with this if you want to make it a little different. Voila. That's quite a wonderful shape. Okay, now let's do lofts. So in order to do lofts, right, we need two sketches. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make another plane that's some distance away from my original shape, where I can make a second sketch, because we're going to use the sketch from the first example. So to make a plane, I go to Reference Geometry, Features Toolbar up here in the kind of middle right, Plane, and I'm going to just click on the front plane, and then I can just define a distance off of it. So let's say 4 inches. No, that's too much. Cool. Okay. Now on this plane, I can sketch. And what should I make? Let's see. Why don't we can actually look at it this way? It might be a little easier. Let's start out simple. Let's do something that's a pretty common move with a loft, and we're going to first use the Convert Entities tool. This is a really awesome tool. I'm not sure if we talked about it yet. Actually, no, I think we did. So first I'm going to use the Convert Entities tool to kind of grab this shape and project it onto my new plane. So I Convert Entities, click the shape, and then I click checkmark. And I get the shape. It's beautiful. Now I'm going to click that shape by clicking the inside of it and see how all the lines are selected. And I'm actually going to select for construction, and that's for a special reason. You'll see this next, right? Now with these same things selected, I'm going to go to Offset Entities, and I'm going to make an offset from that original shape. This is a technique that gets used a ton when you're using lofts, because a lot of times you want to have, you have a shape and you want it to get bigger over this distance, or you want it to get smaller while having the solid geometry piece. This is the way to do that. We can set basically the difference between them. I'm gonna reverse this and make it smaller. There's also I also could have set the construction geometry here in this option. And the reason I set that for construction geometry, right, is because we're trying to reference this. We're trying to reference this original shape, but the shape we actually want is this. And if we don't want a shape to be drawn, we need to make it for construction, or reference geometry is what it's called. Okay, now that I'm happy with this. So you might be thinking at this point, Cam, we only have one sketch. Right? I only see one sketch here. Well, remember, sketches don't disappear when they go into features. They're always there. So our original sketch number 1, is just hiding under the sweep, and we can still use him for other things. So now we're going to go to the Features tab, and then Loft is right under Swept Boss Base. We have Lofted Boss Base. Click Lofted Boss Base. Profiles, these are the kind of profiles you want to hit. So first we'll click that face. We could have also clicked the sketch. We'll see if it works. And then we'll click that sketch, and it's drawn a nice little preview for us. Again, you can play with start and end constraints, guide curves, and some other options. We're going to just click check. Ah, nice. It's like a weird hook. We couldn't do this otherwise. That's cool. So yeah, this has been sketching in lofts. 2 really useful tools. You might not use them a ton in Baja, but there will come a day when you will need these tools, and I look forward to that day. That's it. Thanks, guys.